From PBS NewsHour's Student Reporting Labs
and WETA,
this is On Our Minds
with Ashley
and Tyler,
a podcast about the teenage experience made by teenagers for teenagers.
Because we all need a place to feel heard. Hey Ashley, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Today, we're talking all about nature and how it affects our mental health and our well-being.
I know. I'm definitely really excited for this episode, especially since I have a very strong interest in environmental science. It's something that I think I'd quite like to pursue in the future. Nature's just been a very big part of my life, I think.
I'm excited about this episode because recently I started going on bike rides every night, and it has been the highlight of my day. It's been something that's really been able to allow me to kind of connect with nature, and then I'll come back home, I'll listen to music, and I'll light a candle, and I'll do my homework, and that's the perfect way to end the day for me. So
oh, that sounds so nice. I always forget how much I love being outside, listening to the crickets and just hearing everything around you. It just there's nothing quite like it, even though I do listen to nature sounds when I'm studying instead of just going outside. But yeah. So we all know that being around beautiful flowers, trees, mountains, the ocean, and all that kind of stuff feels nice. But there's actually a ton of research and science being done now that actually quantifies how beneficial it is to be connected to nature. Even just having a view of a tree out of a window can be helpful.
A study published last year in the journal Science Advances documented more than 200 different ways nature can impact well-being, including things like mental and physical health, feelings of connectedness and belonging, and spirituality.
We're going to hear more about the science of nature and well-being later. But first, we're going to Rockville, Maryland to meet Raha and Caroline. They're both in high school and became friends while working together at an outdoor summer camp. They really like to spend time together in nature, and they attempted to record this segment of the podcast on one of Caroline's small boats at a place called Lake Needwood near where they live. And I do say attempted because it didn't exactly go as planned. See, there's a very important piece of equipment that they were supposed to have called a boat plug. And as the name suggests, it is a plug that keeps the water out of the boat. So let's hear about how their day went.
Alright, you come in and hop in the boat. Oh no. That's completely my fault. I don't want this to go wrong.
We end up capsizing.
I guess it's time to move.
Oh no, this is bad.
Well, because I don't know if you saw my face, but I saw you sit down, and then all of a sudden I looked down, and there was just, oh no, where's the boat plug?
You have one?
Yeah, well, it should have been in the boat. It just must have fallen out. I was so anxious about getting everything ready that I didn't I was moving around really fast this morning. I was like, we gotta go.
It's okay. Yeah, that's totally fine. Let's go for a walk.
Yeah, let's go for a walk.
Caroline's very athletic. She's a tri-sport athlete. And so she's really busy with a lot of things. I think that being in nature is really grounding. And you're kind of just there's no one asking anything of you.
No matter where you live, there's kind of always been this idea that there's kind of something near you, there's something outside to go and do, and you get caught up in this oh my goodness, I'm so done with high school, I want to leave, I'm so done with Maryland, I'm so done with Rockville, I don't really want to be in this area anymore. But being able to go outside to a place that you kind of grew up in, or for me, Lake Needwood is I took walks around here. There's still things for you to do around here. There's still ways to be connected to nature, and you don't necessarily need to take a vacation.
When you're in school, how has nature brought your attention back to yourself?
It's funny you ask that, because I think for me, I just have such a positive association with the activities like this, canoeing and camping and whatnot. And when I am really stressed out about grades or something, it kind of just reminds you, you don't need to be so caught up in the moment, and it's okay, I'm going to get whatever grade this quarter, this semester, or maybe I don't have the job that I want right now, or et cetera, et cetera. It's okay, there's something bigger than yourself. There's something that you enjoy. You can feel happy without having that validation of getting the grade that you want.
I mean, I've always been very anxious. I've always had anxiety, I think. I don't know why. I just have a hard time being around a lot of people. And what I appreciate about nature is that there's no one expecting something from you. There's no one pressuring you to do something that maybe you don't want to do. I feel like at school, everybody just wants to get into an argument with you and wants to prove you wrong and prove that they're the best. But in nature, you're just accepted for who you are. And you can just exist, and the ducks mind their own business, and the trees mind their own business, and they just let you sit alongside them.
Growing up, I was kind of like anti going outside, like anti getting my hands dirty, but I loved my brother so much. Like he's my closest friend, and I wanted to be just like him. And if he wanted to go play in the mud, like, well, I guess I did too. And it was interesting because as we grew up, it was a lot about me following him. And I think it's one thing to kind of be exposed to nature through the people that you love, but it's a whole nother step to kind of like take that initiative on your own. And I think we both had that experience at the same time, getting connected to nature in our own right.
You have to make space for yourself. I think that you just have to seek out the opportunity because it's all around you.
I love what Raha said about taking the opportunity to go outside and spend time in the outdoors. Nature's all around us, and I love that Raha and Caroline still manage to enjoy their day despite their plans not working out with the boat plug.
Sometimes your boat's gonna capsize. Sometimes you go outside and you get stung by like 6 bees. Sometimes mosquitoes use you as like their blood bag. I guess what's kind of nice is like when you're out in nature, like you don't have to worry. You can kind of relinquish control. And I think that they kind of spoke about that a lot.
While we know that going outside can be a great source of tranquility and mental focus, we know that sometimes it's difficult to be able to go outdoors and into nature. Up next, we'll hear from 17-year-old Kim in Brentwood, New York.
She lives in an area just outside of New York City without many sidewalks. Her mom is also really worried about crime, and she doesn't let Kim walk around outside alone. That really impacts Kim's mental health. And so she sat down to talk with her mom about why she would like to be more independent.
Hello, Mom.
Hello, Kim. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking, and thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
So, I know you're worried about me walking on my own, but I feel like for me, walking helps me de-stress. Often, I'm always working on school, and I feel kind of cramped, especially with the small room that I have. So, walking lets me be in an open space with fresh air, be able to breathe in nature and feel calm during a time when I feel really stressed, especially now that college admissions are happening. So it's just kind of getting me a bit scared. Understanding more about why you don't want me to walk and understanding more about your feelings and coming to maybe a resolution or even just a more of an understanding.
Okay.
Before I continue, I want you to explain why you don't want me to walk.
Okay. The reason is because I'm scared because the neighbor where we living before used to be really safe when you was a baby. Now you grow and the neighbor changed, so it's different. And especially they don't have no sidewalk to walk, so you have to walk on the street. And a lot of people driving distracting, so can cause any accident.
I understand that completely. What problems or situations are you worried exactly might happen if I walk alone?
Well, it was one situation what happened in the family already, with your brother, and he was walking from school to the house, and this person stopped the car. He wanted to take him away, so that's another reason I'm scared.
Even though I like to walk around, I sometimes have that fear that there's always dangers. Because I guess I always assume that I'll be okay, I'll be perfectly fine. But as I'm getting older and I'm planning to go to college, especially far away, and into new places, one, I feel like I should be able to learn how to kind of walk on my own, but I also understand that fear that anything could happen. I do know that at least this is in the past, and I don't believe so anymore. I used to think that it was trust issues and that you just didn't trust me enough, but do you think that's the case or no?
No, 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 no. It's the time that we live in. I trust you. It's
But you don't trust other people as much.
no.
What do you think would be a better solution that will allow me to walk on my own?
Well, you can, like I say, you can walk with somebody if you have a friend, walk together, or I can walk with you if you want.
I know sometimes I want to walk around on my own because I feel stressed and I don't want people to see me in that state.
Okay, so you know what? You can walk and keep in touch with me with your phone.
I know some parents have like a phone tracker actually, where they track a phone.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. You had to teach me that
Yeah.
so I can track you.
Yeah, I know some of my friends have it. It's also safer. So like
Yeah.
if anything happens to me.
Yeah, that'd be good. Idea. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And I can always carry something like
Like a stick, because dogs, I see.
yeah, like a
But-
stick. But you feel like that would be good?
Yes, it'd be good.
Is there anything else you want me to understand or know better about like why you don't want me to walk?
No, I think we understand each other, right?
Okay.
I'll
I'll try to be safe.
All right, so we in the same page.
I love you,
Okay,
Mom.
I love you too, baby.
I know you just want to keep me safe. Okay, bye.
Bye.
I really love this conversation, and I think that I understand a lot about the fear that her mom is feeling, but definitely also about Kim's desire to be outside and do more on her own.
Yeah, and we actually have a really cool update about this. After Kim recorded that conversation with her mom, she agreed to let her use a phone tracker they had talked about. And Kim says she's allowed to go outside more now. She's planning to attend college in another state and says her mom is cool with that plan too. Kim is also turning 18 this month, happy birthday, and she's glad she's able to have more freedom now.
As we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of new research happening around all the ways nature is good for people.
Student journalist Siddharth Sudan from Stevenson Ranch, California, got the chance to talk about it recently with Florence Williams. She's a science journalist and the author of the book, The Nature Fix: Why Nature Makes Us Happier, Healthier, and More Creative.
I love spending time outdoors and feel that it positively affects my mental health. So I'm so excited to talk to you.
Hey, Siddharth, it's so great to be with you.
What are scientists learning now about how much people benefit from the outdoors?
There's been so much research over the last 10 or so years, and I think this is partly a response to a recognition that we are more disconnected from the natural world than ever. And people are very interested in what that means for our health and what it means for our kind of emotional well-being as well. So what we're finding out is that we can take these measuring and monitoring kinds of equipment into the field. We know that after even just 10 or 15 minutes of being outside in a pleasant nature space, that our respiration slows, our stress hormones like cortisol start to drop. We start to be a little bit more pleasant. We start to be less obsessed with rumination and sort of thoughts about our internal monologue and more kind of aware of our surroundings. And all of this make us feel better.
But do you have any other tips or advice for ways teens can connect to nature, more specifically if they live in a city or an area without much access to the outdoors?
Yeah, I mean, this was something I ended up thinking about a lot once I moved to a city. How could I kind of optimize these benefits of nature? And in fact, there are a lot of pretty easy ways, even as simple as just bringing houseplants, into your workspace or into your house. We know that even provides kind of micro doses of stress reduction. Put your desk under a window, get some natural light, go outside in the early morning if you can, maybe drink your coffee, on your doorstep. Even that kind of improves our moods and our alertness, and then we sleep better at night. we know that even when you're in a city, you can find nature and kind of tune into the cycles of nature by looking at the sky. For example, the night sky, you can see where the moon is and what it's doing. You can see some stars, you can see the sunset. You can find fractal patterns in clouds. You can also find them along urban creeks and in trees.
My daily intake of nature is my morning walks with my dog.
Great.
But I always feel like there's that constant nag of I probably have to get back because I have to get ready for school, or I have my phone with me. So my question is, how should we utilize our intake of nature to the fullest?
First of all, I would put your phone in a pocket and turn it off, or turn the sound off, and then ask yourself what you're noticing in this very present moment in terms of all of your senses. So walk yourself through these questions, like, do I see any cool patterns in nature? Do I see the color green, or what colors am I seeing? Am I finding some particular objects of incredible beauty? Like, can I find a little bit of awe today in looking at this blossom and looking at a butterfly? Maybe there's a bird in the tree. Can I actually kind of focus in on listening to the bird sound and kind of filtering out some of the city noise? So just by asking ourselves some simple questions, we can take ourselves out of our thinking brain and put ourselves into our sensory brain. And you can do that in just a couple of minutes a day.
You also talked about something else in the book that I think is really interesting. You talked about how nature can be awe-inspiring. Can you talk about that a little bit? What happens when people experience this feeling?
Yeah, sure. I'm really intrigued by the science of awe, which is it's a positive emotion, one of a handful. And it's only really recently been studied kind of in a laboratory or in any depth. And what we know is that when people experience awe, and about half the time they experience it, it is from the natural world, although it can also be by watching another person, in an act of bravery, for example, or looking at an amazing piece of art or hearing a symphony and so on. But when we're in the natural world and we are kind of overcome by the beauty that we're seeing, it does this really interesting thing. It all of a sudden takes us out of our own kind of individual soundtrack and makes us think about something outside of ourselves. Just that simple act of like, what is that? What am I looking at? Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That makes us feel more connected to the world around us. And it makes us feel even more connected to each other. And it turns out that those are powerful antidotes to feelings of loneliness. They're powerful antidotes to feelings of anxiety. We can be moved by beauty, and we can be enlivened by it as well.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I just can't wait to go outside and enjoy nature now that I know way more about it. But thank you so much for talking to me.
You're so welcome. Go for a hike soon.
Okay.
I think listening to their conversation was so cool. For so long, we as people lived like very in tune with nature. And then we got farther and farther away from it with industrialization. And so it's always nice to hear that, like, no matter how advanced we become, like, we're still like animals. Like, we still just like being outside. We like being in the sun. We like, I don't know, being in the rain. I love the rain. To some extent, like, regardless of our problems, it's always been part of the solution to just go outside and have fun and just be with nature.
I also love when there's something that I know that I enjoy doing and it's kind of like backed by science. Like, I love to go outside, but that now there's these scientists that are saying, oh yeah, actually going outside is really good for you, which I knew, but having the science to back it up really makes me feel 10 times better about going outside and avoiding my homework.
Finally, we want to give a quick shout out to the winners of Student Reporting Lab's first ever Student Journalism Challenge, made possible by funding from the XQ Institute. Let's hear a clip from one of the winning stories from students from Elizabethton High School in Elizabethton, Tennessee.
They produced a video called Airless, Ugly Places, exploring why their school building has no windows.
Welcome to Elizabethton High School, nestled in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of East Tennessee, where we are known for our crystal clear streams, beautiful mountains, spectacular leaves, and abundant wildlife. But in our school, we aren't even allowed to see any of that because we don't even have windows.
So congratulations to all those students, and if any school architects are listening, hopefully you got the message from this episode to please include windows in any and all schools you design.
Up next, our last episode.
No, oh, it's so sad. It'll be a short but bittersweet one. We'll share what's coming up for On Our Minds Season 4 and find a way to say goodbye.
Today's segments were produced by Raha and Caroline from Rockville, Maryland, Kim and Mariana from Brentwood, New York, and Siddharth Sudan from Stevenson Ranch, California.
This episode was produced by Editorial Director Marie Cusick and edited by Associate Producer Jaylah Moore-Ross, with help from lead podcast producer Briget Ganske.
Executive Producer Leah Clapman.
Theme music by Jackson Teedens.
Additional music by Blue Dot Sessions.
On Our Minds is supported by the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations.
If you or someone you know needs help, we have a list of resources at studentreportinglabs.org/mental health resources.